time for Dr. Anigezi to join us to bring insights, to share perspectives on toxic relationships, right? And why people still tolerate it. Maybe not tolerate it, but like they still just, for whatever reason, find it very difficult to live, and it degenerates and becomes completely something else. Dr. Gazy, good morning and welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Good morning, Jude. How are you?
I'm well, I'm thriving.
Sorry, forgive me. I'm trying to
By the
adjust
grace of
myself
God.
because it's Sunday.
It's fine, it's completely fine. I
It's
try,
Sunday, so I'm
yeah.
trying to adjust myself.
Wow. You know, again, the conversation we're having today, 2 weeks ago, the nation was just in uproar over
Yeah.
that viral video we saw of how an irresponsible man, you can say, was just completely off the hook in a very distressing manner for me. I'd want you to just, help us appreciate the issues. For some people, they tell you that it's not as simple as it sounds, right? What are the complexities? Why is it so often very difficult for people to leave toxic relationships?
Okay. I mean, you know what? I'm excited about today because we can talk about it all day. Um, at some point in almost everybody's life, you go through a relationship that is not that great. But I think before I even try to answer or discuss this topic, I think for me it's about why do people go into relationship in the first place? Because we need to establish the reason why we go into relationships, or the majority, or should it almost everybody feels the need to be in a relationship or the desire to be in a relationship. So if we break it down to the fact that it can be a combination of so many different factors. Could be psychological or emotional, or practical factors like I hate being on my own, loneliness. I need somebody, companionship. The fact that I think, Jude, by now you're bored with me talking about the impact of society on us because we live in a community or a society where society detects or determines so many things in our lives. And one of them is about relationship. Because if you look at the average Ghanaian, I mean, now the culture is changing so much. We've moved on so much from so many things and we are learning so much over the years. But once upon a time, and it still exists, you go to school, just before you finish, they expect you to bring somebody home to say, I'm studying, whether boy or girl, this is the person that I'm studying or we're courting. And then when you finish, it's a job first, or even straight into, we need somebody, even if your immediate parents or guardians don't talk about that. You get a community asking, oh, who is your boyfriend? Who is your girlfriend? Who are you marrying? Then when are you marrying? When is the wedding date? When are the babies coming? So I am talking about this because the pressure of society as to what we call, like normal, it's a norm. You have to be in a relationship. So because of that, people get to that age or that time and it's like, who is available? So
Yeah.
there are so many, like I said, factors, and one of them is this person is available. Sometimes even society, or let's say your community or your parents or people close to you will actually determine who you should go with. I have met people where parents have actually said that, you know what, actually you leave your boyfriend because he's too young. This one is ready, he's working, he's stable, he's got a home, he's got a car, he's got a job. So this is better. So the question is that, okay, I'm going into this, but what are the other consequences or factors that, am I really truly in love? Or somebody will say, well, how do you define love? Or am I compatible with this? I think this person, I think that's the kind of right word to use. So these toxic things sometimes derive from that. Do we really know the people that we are actually going out with? And even if we do, how much? And what are the reasons why people are staying in? And some of the factors are to do with the fact that financial reasons. This person can give me a stable home. This person can pay the bills, look after the kids, and that. Maybe the one that I truly want to be with won't provide that. So why not settle for this one? So economical reasons. It could also be for the fact that that's the one that is available at the time. I'm at that age that I need to settle down, and this is the one. And dependency, all of that. So these are some of the factors. Or we just make the wrong choices as well.
Is there a valid reason to say that you want to settle down with someone because you feel like um, not because this is the time, but because you feel like time is
They tick all the
going.
boxes, sort of.
No,
Time, yeah,
no. So more like because you feel like time is going,
yeah.
and out of fear of not finding, someone eventually. So more like settling down or compromising. Will you say is a okay enough reason to enter into a long term or a marriage of a sort?
On personal basis as well as professional, I'll say no. But I think that I've had this discussion with a group before, and I was saying that settle down for love, for the fact that you're compatible. Marry your best friend, somebody you can love, laugh, share things with. They understand your passion, you understand them. You don't have to share the same dreams and aspirations, but you're ready to support each other's dreams and aspirations. You're ready to understand. Because one thing I've realized is that if you click, what tends to happen is even the ugly side of them you're able to tolerate. Whilst for somebody who you settle for, what tends to happen is all they need to do is sneeze and you get upset, you get really angry. You just can't stand it. You wake up in the morning and think, how did I? And that's why, we're having lots of divorce. The divorce rate is so high. It's the settling for. Because at the time, that is what you felt you needed, or people around you felt that you needed that at the time. But 4, 5, 10, 15 years, it could even be 20, 30 years. Then you meet that old boyfriend or girlfriend, and your heart is pounding that why didn't I wait? Why didn't I wait for this person? Because this is the right person. But at that time, it felt so right. Everything about it felt so right. But then, and should I say thank God or thank you for or not, good or bad, we have social media now. So we get to meet those old people that we left behind, and we think, wow, I should have stayed or waited or whatever. Then we realize that actually timing or whatever is not a factor anymore. We could have waited, we could have done it better. So I would say settling for no, but some people would argue that my situation now, are you trying to say that it's okay to wait for that boyfriend or girlfriend who is nowhere near where we can do what we have to do? A parent will argue that I'm not going to allow my daughter to marry, in quotes, a poor boy or somebody who's a student. Because I remember when, years ago, even when I was in school, ahead of college, people saying that their parents are saying, actually, you know what, this boy is still a student. When is he going to finish? When are you going to settle down? And boys don't mature early, and that, so settle for that one. And these are the factors. But many times you realize that they grow apart. They grow
Yeah.
apart. People force themselves to stay.
Interesting. Let me find out from you your thoughts on the issue around more like the not a maxim, but like the concept of like bless this mess, right? So it basically says, or the idea behind it is that you enter into it now, you are so far gone that withdrawal is almost impossible. So you are hoping that you can get along,
Yeah.
So bless this mess in quotes. So it's a mess. You enter it, but you are hoping that things get better. And sometimes there's a little commitment on both sides, but the differences begin to show, and it makes everything even much more difficult. How do you cope in a situation like that?
Yeah. I would bring a little bit of a trending news that we are all aware of. I won't go into it because it's got legalities and all of that. And I'm not into that. I'm not a legal person or traditional person to comment. But I think recently, a death of a celebrity and all that is going on. If you look at one person invested so much, and not just financially, invested emotionally, invested with her life, invested with years of their time. Sometimes people get into that point where I'm not going to give up, even though it's not working, but I'm not going to give up because I've invested so much. And there's so many people, especially women, in that situation. It's like we started when we were 19 years or 21 years old, put everything into his career. I've done everything. I've sacrificed all my years. I'm not going to walk away. They know deep down that maybe it's not working. They know deep down that that's not where they're supposed to be. And they would really want to move on. But if they look at the years that, and then everything that they've put in, maybe they've even sacrificed their own career, maybe they've left their own family in terms of their biological family line and joined this person's family line. So their whole life, friendships, everything revolves around that marriage or relationship. It's very difficult to walk away. Because walk away to what? And if you walk away as well, you're losing a lot. I'm not saying based on that you have to stay there, but Jude, that's what makes it very difficult for most people. It's like, maybe I've got 4 children, I've got 3 children. Am I walking away? And then what? And then my children will blame me in future for the fact that, I walked away from their dad or I walked away from their mom. I might as well just stay in. I've committed anyway. So then the other factor about people go outside the relationship to have other affairs with people that they feel comfortable with, whether that is right or wrong. At the time, they just feel that if I can get that outside and then still keep this one that I've invested so much in, why not?
Interesting. So generally, it's not a bad idea, but you need to manage it.
When you say it's not a bad idea, how do we define bad in your bad
Because
terms?
the bless this mess concept is more like a compromising approach. So okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to compromise certain standards, to make this work. Sometimes
Dude,
they are
sorry,
very.
can I interrupt you? I'll say that, if the compromising is about this person is your best friend, you don't have any domestic abuse issues at home. There is nothing going on. It's just that maybe the chemistry is not as strong as you expect it to be. Like, oh, I see him in my heart jams, or maybe the bedroom factor. I know for lots of people that is very important. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's not important. It is important. So we look at all of those factors, that what is it exactly that is upsetting you or making it difficult, and then you that is where maybe counseling can come in. So it could be religious counseling, or seeing whoever, a counselor or somebody, or a mediator, to actually sit with you or both of you and look at what is making it so difficult for you to click. So yes, that's why a third person that is significant need to come into this and help her, because sometimes we're thinking out in our head and it's not coming out. So it's just all in our head that maybe if I get Joe Blocks, he'll be better than this person. Or maybe if I walk away, or you're listening to your friends and they tell you, my husband did this, he did that, and he did that. And maybe that is not even true, but you're throwing it out there and you see them laughing, holding hands, and you're thinking, he doesn't do that for me. He doesn't buy me flowers. He doesn't acknowledge my birthday. He doesn't acknowledge. I'm not saying that is bad. If that someone does that to me, I'll be upset. But
Interesting.
is it a big deal for you to maybe throw away 20 years or 30 years?
Yeah.
Years? So it's about looking at what is it exactly. But if it's abuse, a serious abuse that is really affecting you, then I would say no, that's not something to just look at it
Throw
and say,
away. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the red lines are all forms of abuse, right?
Exactly.
But if it's a value, how about if it's like a values kind of issue? So for example,
your values.
compromising values. I mean, integrity, respect. Sometimes.
Thank you. We're talking about abuse again, because obviously, if my values are not your values, you're not acknowledging them, because it's making me very unhappy. It's making the relationship.
It goes back to abuse.
Definitely.
Interesting.
Because if you don't respect me, then I'm insignificant to you, and I'm insignificant in the relationship. And
that is a form of emotional abuse, if I get you correctly. It is a form of
emotional abuse, yes. Coercion and everything. You don't acknowledge me as a woman, or as a person, or as a man. My values are not important to you.
But for but for the other issues, like as you put it, the bedroom issues, that can be worked on. That can be worked on, right?
That's an individual thing.
Interesting.
If the woman is very like, I need this to happen, and it's not happening, then maybe she'll start looking elsewhere. Or if the man feels that is what is because for some people that is very, very important. And for others as well, it's secondary. We've been together God knows how long. So if we do our bedroom affairs once a month or once every 3 months, we are comfortable with that. Some people understand. But if it's a very important issue and it's not happening, then it can break the marriage. It can seriously break the relationship. So, yeah.
Interesting. Very briefly, what will you a lot has been said, and we are grateful for your insight, as always, into these issues. What will you describe as a toxic relationship from all that we've gleaned so far? It has general understandings when you mention it, but for the uninitiated, really, what will you say is borderline toxic relationships?
Toxic is where there is severe abuse that affects an individual. So it can be a combination of sexual abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse. It could be one or lots of them where you're not valued. Abuse can be brought. You know, it's funny because I was discussing this with some people yesterday, and we were talking about in some cultures, and especially in Nigeria, you marry, the whole family are involved. If you upset your husband, even the mother or the sister-in-law can come and beat the woman, you know, and this is abuse. So even the man is not directly abusing the woman, but allowing their family to come in and then abuse their wife because they are not happy with, maybe the woman has taken too long to have a baby, or is not cooking the food that mother used to cook before, and all of that. So if it's actually you're compromising so much, and we're not just talking about women, we're talking about, you know, both men and women. If you're compromising so much that it affects you, it's a bit like addiction. It's what mental health, whatever is happening, is it actually affecting you, affecting your everyday life, making it difficult for you to function the way you would? Like, you are a career person, but you're not being allowed to pursue your career. You're not being allowed to do certain things that makes you comfortable and help you with your everyday life. My question is that, my answer is that's toxic. You can't be at the place where you're so emotionally broken or physically broken or sexually broken to the extent that you don't have your freedom. And you need to start asking yourself questions whether this is the rightful place for me.
Interesting. I really appreciate those viewpoints, Dr. Anigezi.
Sorry, Jude, can I just add one as well? Because we're not talking
do.
about domestic abuse, we're talking about toxic relationships, and that could be friendships as well, especially young people. People really toxic friendships that
I was going to come to
bullying goes
that.
on.
I was going to come
Sorry,
to
carry
that.
on. Sorry.
So, I was going to say, even beyond spousal relationships,
Yeah.
there are other forms of relationships, and you clearly
Exactly.
put it out, you know, perfectly. There are friendship relationships. There are even some relationships between, like, colleagues, right, and superiors, right? So at the office, I understand. I just saw a comment from a viewer, even saying that there are even relationships in the church involving pastor, you know, congregant, and sometimes gets very abusive, where certain demands are made. The member or the church member is unable to meet them, and for some reason there's a huge psychological burden on the church member. It affects their faith, it affects their well-being and all of that. So the responses you've given us today, I want to believe, encompasses all kinds of relationships, right?
It does, Jude. It does. And I'm glad that you talked about the religion. Sometimes I get excited when you ask me these questions that I miss out things. But as you know by now, my faith is I'm a Christian. But sometimes we abuse that position of being a pastor or a leader in church, especially when there's one leader is not a denomination that has got a body that oversees everybody. So it's like, in the name of God, do this or don't do this, don't sit down. You know, somebody was telling me in this day and age, saying to the ladies in the church, you can't wear trousers because you're not a man. You know, if you say something that is not what he wants, he can ask you to fast like for 3 weeks for forgiveness of sins. I said, my God, this is a call. This is not a church. Even God, for some of us who are Christians, we know He's giving us His free will. I think Christian religion is the one that is the most what do you call it? Flexible. So how can you tell people to do certain things? You can't wear this, you can't do this, you can't do this. We worship God with our hearts. Sorry, I'm not going to preach here, but people in positions can use their position. It doesn't matter where, and it can be in church, everywhere. You know, in the classroom, I'm the teacher, you do what I say, or I'm the headmaster, I'm the principal, I'm the lecturer. People in certain positions can use their position to abuse. And the relationship can be so toxic because you're so scared of losing your job. You're so scared that they will mark you down. You're so scared that you lose friendship because there's a friendship group. And is that one that's going to fetch the water? Is that one that is providing? We go out to eat. I'm the only one that is buying stuff all the time. If I don't do it, I'm going to lose this friendship that I don't want to do. And even now, it goes on to even platforms like WhatsApp platforms, Facebook platforms, all that, where people are abusing people because they feel that they've got the platform, the voice to be able to do that. And these are toxic relationships that people don't realize, but they feel that codependency, you know, they're depending on that and they feel is okay. And it's terrible.
Dr. Gazy, I get the sense that today's show will not give us enough time to delve into all of these issues, because I have a question for you on how people still stay in this despite this. You answered it briefly, but I have a couple of follow-up questions. But what we'll do is that because time is not on our side, we would have to continue this conversation next week. So a part 2 of toxic relationships, why people stay in them, how to spot the signs. It's also a very important part. But I'm so grateful for your time this morning.
That's it. And Jude, I'll be happy if you bring some of the questions that people ask online as well.
Definitely, I'll do some.
So that we can look at that next week.
We probably could even do a phone-in segment as well. So people call in and share their thoughts, and you provide useful responses.
That'll be fantastic.
Technology wasn't on our side today, but it's fine. It's part of it. But I'm so grateful for your time this morning, Dr. Anigezi.